right, here we go. Here we go. 1878 Casuals Europa League preview with who are we playing? Sheriff of Moldova.
Oh, shot the sheriff of
Yep.
Moldova.
Shot the sheriff, but we did not shoot the deputy, but we'll get there. I got Patchy, I got Bandito Mike, and the maddest of faces, Casey Gale. So, all right, boys, this is our new favorite competition. We're not playing any Premier League this weekend, so Europa League, let's get after it. Bandito Mike, he watched some Europa League recently, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So I watched the extended highlights of Sheriff and oh my God, I can't remember the Cyprus
The
squad.
Cyprus team.
Yeah,
Ammonia or something like that.
Ammonia, I think it's called. Yeah.
Isn't that what you keep under your sink? So
Yeah,
ammonia.
if you get knocked out, you forget. Anyways, Sheriff, yeah, they created most of the chances through playing direct. So long balls over the top into space, and just let their forward try to run onto it before your center back clears it.
So they're gonna go at that strength.
Well, we'll see. I mean, that was their game plan for that particular match. They did have most of the chances, but yeah, they like to play direct in that particular game.
And they're consistently top of the Moldovan league. I looked at it. I think they've won it like the last 5 or 6 years in a row.
So they're the Bayern Munich.
That's the preeminent team of Moldova.
Well, then to keep in mind too, and I could be wrong, but I think there's only 8 teams in that league. So
really?
So it's not. Yeah. And I could be wrong, but that's what I thought I saw. So
that's what Thursday Night Football is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, this is their chance to sort of play the bigger teams, is the Europa League. So, as my dad said a couple of weeks ago when I chatted with him, is there's a lot of teams now, especially when they play in these competitions like Europa League and Champions League and stuff like that, they don't appear to be scared. I mean, this is their Champions League as far as they're concerned, because I mean, again, I'm not sure, but I don't know if they've ever been in the Champions League. So, and if they have, I can imagine they didn't get very far, because, at least the last, handful of years, at least, I haven't heard of them, making their way up the ladder. So, I mean, I think that Ten Hag will be keen to rotate the squad, and because it's like when we played Real Sociedad, we fielded, Maguire and, some of the kind of usual suspects from last year and stuff. And it was back to being the same old squad that we had been watching, for the last 6 months of Ragnick and 6 months of Ole and stuff like that. So there really is still a stark difference between, I think Ten Hag has found his Premier League starting 11. And it took him, a couple games to do it. So maybe it's kind of the same thing with Europa League, where he's got to find that balance and, rotate the squad just enough to the point where we still have some of our strong players in there. And then we can sort of pepper in some of the other guys that don't play as consistently.
I was going to say, now that we didn't play last weekend, we're not playing this weekend, does it make sense to go with the 11 we probably would have
like it's the Champions League final? Fuck that ref. He did this.
Does it make sense to go with the 11 we would have against Palace, just to say, hey, we need the 3 points because we were boned? That's all. I mean, there's no getting around it. The referee boned us with that one. So do we need the 3 points now? I mean, do we need to go with the normal 11? Rashford.
I think you do, because
just for the minutes and to get a run out. There's not going to be a match until
October 2nd.
City away.
And our own Bandito Mike will be there at the council estate.
So yeah, you bring up a good point. Does he want to just keep his strongest 11 and get him get them a run out and get them a match and put it to bed. And then 60th minute, start bringing on some other players. I will say from the match against Sociedad, it shows that Lindelof and Maguire cannot play together. It's just they have the same weaknesses. Their pace is not good enough. The ball comes to them, and then instead of making a line-breaking pass or moving the ball very quickly, it's just too many touches. Maguire wants to dribble forward, and then like Patrick was saying, it's just like the football we were used to watching. Unfortunately, last season, where it's just stagnated.
Yeah, and I would prefer Lindelof over Maguire because I think that Lindelof has a better brain for the game than Maguire, and he's certainly more aware, but it's just his skill set isn't up there. I think if you maybe did like a Lindelof and Martinez or Varane and Lindelof or something like that, that may be a little better. And especially because we're not playing anything other than Europa League until October 2nd, I think maybe Ten Hag just takes advantage of this opportunity and just fields his Premier League starting 11, because why not? The boys are going to get plenty of rest. And obviously there's less of a risk of injury and stuff like that. So, I don't see why he wouldn't play his, PL starting 11, but I guess we'll see.
We haven't heard from the maddest of faces yet. What do you think, Mad Face? What are we looking at on Thursday?
I think it's a simple one, just for the simple fact there's so much time in between. Just go ahead and take this as a serious game, very serious. I want to start our starting 11, including Casemiro. I'm sorry, Scotty. I'm going to bench you. Get that team together, just for shits and giggles, and tell the team I want to destroy this team, pissed off, and why not go balls out? We got a week off. Have a good time. Beat them by 5, and you don't have to come in tomorrow. If not,
Right.
If don't, everybody comes in. We're running. No, because Ten Hag is upset.
So what
And
I'm
I
hearing
love that
is,
about him.
what I'm hearing is the starting 11. We're confident if we see the same 11 that we saw against Sociedad, it might be a different. It might be a different picture.
That game. They didn't play that bad though. I hate to say that. They had opportunities, yes, but it should have been a draw. But I didn't. I was on Maguire. I was just wanting it. He tried his best not to fuck it up, but Maguire and Lindelof is not athletic enough to be a winning team. It's just plain and simple. The two that we have now, they complement each other. They're athletic, and our defense is comfortable. I
You
David to hear what he thinks.
got one player that's super smooth and silky, and then you got the pit bull. Like good partnership like that, right?
It's amazing.
And I hate to say it, but I think we gotta milk all that we can out of our starting 11 until the World Cup, because one or two of our boys are coming back from that tournament injured, and that's just the way it is.
Why'd you have to say that?
Because that's what always happens. I'm just trying to manage expectations here. But maybe Ten Hag has them so fit by that point that there's no threat of that. But these games are coming so thick and fast, especially
and we have makeup games.
And we have makeup games. And like I looked at the schedule, and like in the span of a month, I think we have like 9 or 10 games.
It's 9 games in October.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's always
on average.
harder to make up games. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You're right. It's always harder to make up games. So it's like, we have on average a game every 3 days. We don't have the squad for that. So it's just kind of one of those things where we have to not only manage our expectations, but also just hope and pray that these guys can stay fit. Because last time, for example, Varane went off on international duty. It's when he fucked up his groin and he was out for weeks. I'm not as worried about. It seems like knock wood, like Fernandez and Martinez and hopefully Casemiro and Sancho and Anthony.
Wow.
Those guys don't seem that injury prone, so I'm not really worried about them. But for somebody like Varane or Rashford, just because he's got a little bit of something going on in his hammy or whatever it is, those muscles are going to be tested. So, you worry. But
what players did they say were not going to the World Cup? Was it Shaw and Martial?
I'm not sure. I know Rashford and Sancho.
There's a list of players that our coach said no, they're not going.
Yeah, I mean, Martinez is going. Fernandez. Ronaldo, Dalot, Varane, Casemiro, Anthony. Almost our whole damn starting 11 is going to the World Cup.
Garnacho's going.
He was on the first team on the last summer tournament.
So he's going. He's going to make it probably, huh?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, because I think Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. I was going to just comment that I know this guy from Argentina, and they're just like, we love that kid. They're like, they're looking at him like that's the next guy. So
I don't know. I don't know if he keeps wearing all that Ronaldo shit around. They may think twice about giving him a call up. Turns up to Argentina camp wearing all that Ronaldo stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know how it is down there. That's Messi land.
What I like about the kid too is
he's got balls.
He's going to the U21 matches and supporting his old homies, out there and taking flicks with United fans.
Yeah,
these small, like 5,000 to 7,000 people are going to see a U21 game, but he's out there, supporting his old teammates. I like to see that.
Yeah, it seems solid. I feel like we have a good group of kids. They all seem professional. Well, yeah, I think we had a lot of
That's the United Way in the academy. So here's my next question. So clearly we're confident with the first 11 that we've got and some of the players interchanging, but these guys like the Lindelofs, the Maguires, the Shaws, like obviously when we played Sociedad, we didn't, like you said, Face, we didn't play poorly, but we didn't play well enough to win. And Sociedad didn't really do a lot to really threaten in the game either. But what do these guys have to do further in the season when we're going to play more of these games? Like in this run coming in October, like you said, we got 9 games. That's almost like the holiday period normally in December. How confident are we looking at some of these games? Like how can these players get up to the level of the Martinez's? I know that Lindelof and Harry struggle a little bit in the athleticism department compared to Varane and Martinez, but how do some of those guys that are the fringe players right now, how do they get back into the good graces of Ten Hag? Because we need them to. We can't have them not playing. What do they need to do to get back into the team?
Well, first I'll say let's not play a bunch of them at the same time. If we plug in maybe one in the back, that'll be fine.
Slowly integrate.
But if we have to bring in 2 like Maguire and anybody else, it's tricky.
Too many turds in the pool.
Let's think about it this way. So is the boss saying, I'm not going to put a lot of importance on this tournament. I want to see how this second 11 plays. I want to see where they're at, who I can trust in an important game, in a Premier League game, deep into the FA Cup. Is that what he's doing?
I would think he's going to behave the way he's been behaving, and that's what's proper. Ten Hag has done everything perfect.
His goal is to win every game, right? And
I know he said he's taking every competition seriously.
Well, every manager says that, right? Like what manager says, "Oh, well, we're not going to really take it seriously." I mean, we don't want to hear that, right? Like on one hand, we want to hear the manager say, "Yeah, we want to win every game," but on the other hand, we know that's not realistic either.
Well,
and it's a difficult situation because typically in these Europa League games, they know that their 11 on paper is not as good as United's 11, even if it's a mixed in squad. So basically they're using the way Atleti played against us, right? Get
Mhm.
compact, make it ugly, slow the game down, foul, flop over on easy fouls. It just break any
Kill the
rhythm,
rhythm.
kill the rhythm, draw out the game and just make it as ugly as possible, and then try to take your chance at the other end. So that's teams know how to. They've got the formula. So it's really tough to for a second team that's not getting a lot of minutes to be creative and unlock these. So that's is a goal going to come from from a set piece? Is a goal going to come from we saw Ronaldo get on the end of a header, but it was offside. So is that
Listen,
something
hey,
you have to do?
Casemiro missed a shot. Ooh, he had a good look. And that header, I'm telling you, he tries stuff. I like him. He tries stuff. But to answer your question, they just got to get better. Keep getting better. Like when they just played that last game, when he brings you in the next time, play better than you did the last time. That's how you get your trust of Ten Hag. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasted your question.
No, I agree. I mean, I think that, now that we have, Ten Hag in the mix and he's starting to sort of integrate his philosophies and style and stuff like that into the squad. And the people that are on the fringe that aren't playing every weekend are now seeing how well, the starting 11 is playing. And if those guys want to be there, you would hope that they would be trying like hell to absorb all of Ten Hag's, methodology and teachings and stuff like that and try to implement it into their game. And again, you'd hope that during training and stuff that, these players like Shaw and Harry and Lindelof and stuff like that, that the coaching staff and, Van der Gaag and Ten Hag and all them boys, McLaren, are seeing those changes start to manifest in some of these guys, and McLaren or whoever it is saying, oh shit, okay, I've seen a definite change in Lindelof, or I've seen more sort of effort out of Shaw in training or whatever, and like I said, it's not we all know it's not a quick fix. It's going to take time. So you would hope. I mean, Ten Hag has already seemingly turned around Diego Dalot's career. I mean, the guy's been killing it. Fernandez is starting to feel like the Fernandez that we bought. Eriksen has just been sick with it the whole time. Sancho's starting to get some more looks. Rashford's got 3 goals and a couple of assists when before he wasn't doing dick.
That's what he did all last season.
Yeah, so it's like, the way that we get better is these boys just need to listen to what Ten Hag's telling them, because the results on the field, I mean, like I said, we beat Liverpool, we beat Arsenal. Like those are not easy teams to beat. So it's the proof is in the pudding. And I would think that the way we get better is for these guys that were normally on the fringe to, like I said, if they even want to be there in the first place, to try to adapt. Otherwise, they gonna get gone. So
yeah, it's a question of their skill set. Like obviously, no one on our squad has the passing range of Eriksen, right? Lindelof or Maguire, they don't have the passing range of either Varane or the Butcher. So, they're kind of limited to what they can do and what they can try to do, because, they're going to give the ball away or, something like this. So they're kind of going for the safer possession pass. And that's kind of what we saw out of this last Thursday's match. So it'll be interesting to see if they, like you said, Patch, if they can get the confidence to try those line breaking passes and make those long over the top passes.
Do you think that, to add to your point, Bandito, do you and it is a question of skill set for sure, but do you think that some of these guys like Lindelof and Maguire and stuff like that have been sort of relegated out of the starting 11 have it in them to step it up to that level and be those players, and Lindelof to develop his passing range game, Maguire to develop his sense of awareness and just fucking turning his head when he needs to instead of being such like a square peg. I mean, do we think that some of those guys have that ability to adapt to that?
I think obviously they're professionals and they can, integrate what the manager wants to do in a game plan. But it's not going to be 100% or it's not going to be overnight. So I think it's a lot of growing pains. And like you said, ultimately it's the results, right? Do they do it on the pitch and do they get results with it? So it'll be interesting to see. So I don't know. I'm really hoping so.
I would like to see Luke Shaw challenged. I think Luke Shaw's a player. I think Luke Shaw takes the coaching and the training. I think he'll beat out Malasia. I'm sorry, but I think Luke Shaw is a player. I just think he gets these lazy spells, and I think he has. I don't know how the off the field. I'm not going to get into all that, but I think there's a player there still in Luke Shaw.
Yeah, he's injured at the moment, so kind of unfair to
Is he
say right now.
Yeah, he's just now back in training.
So
well, still I see a player in there.
He's got obviously, he had that season 2 years ago where he was, Shalberto Carlos, and that's what we want to see out of him. So that's another one to really hope he comes good.
How encouraging, while we're talking about how these guys get back in the good graces of the manager working to the 11, how encouraging is it that Ten Hag is actually like the kind of coach willing to improve even veteran players? Like he's got them working on their weak foot. He's got them, doing different things that we haven't had in the past to try to improve. So, I mean, do we think that, the outside players can benefit from that and actually, do the things that are required? I mean, we'll see. But hey, here's a quick question I had before we get into our score prediction. Somebody brought it up on one, I don't remember if it was on television or if it was on another fan channel. Someone had asked the question, is Christian Eriksen the best ever signing on a free in Premier League history? And I thought that was an interesting question. I know we haven't won anything yet with him, but I mean, that's quite a player. That's quite a player to acquire for Zippo Zilch Nada. I mean, I can only think of one other player that we've ever gotten on a free that had a special little song. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I brought this up with my dad when we were chatting the other day. I would have happily paid 80 million for Eriksen and fucked off Pogba if given, you know what I'm saying? Like Pogba may be a great player in theory, but we never really saw it. And Eriksen is like took a while to make his decision on whether or not he was going to stay at Brentford or go somewhere else or come to us, and he ultimately chose us. And the dude's given 110%, and he almost fucking died last year. So it's like, you could see not only the fact that he was a free transfer, but the fact that he's like him and Fernandez are similar in a way. But there's just some things about Christian Eriksen's game that are so beyond anybody that we have in the squad right now. So I just think he's a brilliant player. And we saw it at Spurs. And you knew that was a player. And, I'd probably even said at some point, I'd take Eriksen from Spurs in a heartbeat, but
he's way better than I thought he would have been, because everything slows down. The difference with him or without him is we used to look erratic and out of control. Now we look like it's a chess game. Like they're developing to the passes make sense. The positioning of players makes sense. Eriksen, I mean, what he's done, no one can do it. Who can do what he's done for us? I don't think the guy De Jong would have been this good. How could De Jong be better than this?
Well, I think De Jong's a different player, but yeah, I mean, I don't think De Jong's heart would have been in it like Eriksen's clearly is. That's for sure.
Yeah, early to tell on your question is he's the best. For me, I think Zlatan, what he did and what the team really needed.
I'm never going to put Eriksen in a sentence with Zlatan right now.
But yeah, Eriksen, he allows McTominay to really define his role where he can just play to his strength, run around, crash into people, just be a mad giant, and be able to find a space where he can receive the ball and just make a simple pass. All he's got to do is say, "Hey, where's Erickson?" Right, and get him the ball. Bruno, he's benefited because he's not having to drop back and then Chuck Hollywood passes to be effective, right? Ericsson's getting him the ball where he can make higher percentage passes, like the assist he did to Rashford, right? So you can see how one player has just really transformed the midfield.
So to use an American term, we can say he's quarterback in the side right now.
He's pulling the strings, man. He is.
All right, let's have the score predictions. So if we think we're going to go with our strongest 11, and they're probably going to go with their strongest 11, what are we thinking?
I would say I'm going to say 3-0.
3-0,
I think
Bandito.
I'm going to say 2-0 in an ugly one. We get the 3 points. We hop on a plane and get out of the war zone. And I'll be happy with that.
Bad face.
I see three clocked. We're going to score 2 early ones, shake them up. It's going to be like, oh, no, they weren't ready for this. Cristiano's on fire. And halftime, the youngsters come in. Second half, get another one. Everybody's calm. We get out the war zone. Everything's chill.
Yeah, hopefully we
3-0.
get an early goal, and that kind of kills their
It'll kill it.
just to slow the game and kill the game. Like you said, we get home and dry. We put in some youngsters to make their Euro debut.
I see that early. I see us coming out hot and just on them, bag a quick one, and the whole tempo, everything's that. Cristiano, can I get your kit? Can I get your kit? Sure, after the game, chill. A lot of that talk.
Here's a quick one on Ronaldo. I think personally last year with him having to be the guy took a lot out of him. Do we expect him to start a lot of games this year, or is this going to be the off the bench Ronaldo?
Well, seeing as how Rashford's got a little issue with his hammy right now and Martial's still out, I think Ronaldo's going to be the guy. And he should have had one against Sociedad, but that was kind of like one of those moments where you could deny it all you wanted, but when he tried to go for that cutback in the box or his little fancy nick behind himself to right foot it in there, he's kind of lost a little bit of pace, and that in that moment you could kind of see it.
The breakaway speed is gone.
Yeah, the FIFA ranking is down on the speed.
Yeah.
Is it really?
That's when it's real.
It's real, yeah.
But
real.
I mean, I think and then there's rumors still circulating that he wants to go in January. So, I mean, I'd hate to rely on him like we pretty much did last year to sort of get us through some nail biters in the tough times, because as much as he'd love to be the guy that rescues the team like that, I just he's just lost a little bit of pace, and you hate to see it, but
do we think he's saving himself a little bit for the World Cup, a little bit to play for Portugal, one last hurrah?
I was going to say it's probably, well, knowing Ronaldo, he'll try to still play in the World Cup when he's 41, because that's when how old he'll be when the next one comes around. So it could very well be.
Yeah, I think he's the the consummate professional, and he wanted to move, and he didn't get the move that he wanted. But I think at the end of the day, when he laces them up, he gives his all, and he's just so competitive and and petulant, and all the things that made him the GOAT. So that's still in him, and I think once he laces them up, like he's like, hey, I'm still Ronaldo,
At the end of the day, he wants to score goals. He wants to bang them in. Like he still loves the game, loves the sport, and he's gonna do as much as he can to try to, score goals. But it's just a question of if his body will allow him to do that like it used to. You know what I mean?
Cristiano's leaving at Christmas. We're gonna get Cody Gakpo, who's already got 9 goals and 6 assists.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's a monster
You're a big Gakpo fan, aren't you, Mad Face?
because he can do hold-up play. He shows he's look at his video. He does hold-up play. He can play a 9.
I also wouldn't mind if we got that Victor Osman guy, because now that I saw him play against the Scousers, I'm like, yeah, he's probably worth about 100 million in today's
You think so?
in today's market.
Woo, Cody
I mean,
gonna be about 45.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we paid 100 million for him, just because,
Me
if nothing
neither.
else, I mean, we've seen his highlight reels, and just the way he played against Liverpool, he bossed Liverpool. And
I would say he's Lukaku with better feet.
yeah, and
He
he's
plays
also
strong.
he's
He
also
uses upper
taller.
body.
He's taller, and he's got more techers. He's not as much of a donkey as Lukaku is. You know.
All right, boys. We're down to like a minute 30 seconds here. So take us away, Bandito.
You guys know the drill. Get in those comments. Give us your score predictions. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate every one of you. Get on those social media. We got a Twitter. We got Instagram. We could get old school Facebook. We even got a MySpace floating around there, I bet. So
Yeah, MySpace is
Get the
curated by
password.
Face.
Who's our top friends?
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom.
So you know the drill. We also like to thank Tiraspol USA for believing in the channel. Thanks, guys. Got the gear on today.
Oh, and hit the code. Don't forget to tell them about the code. Code's still good.
Code 1878 casuals. Get yourself a nice little discount.
Like and subscribe.
Peace, y'all. Next
All
time.
right, boys. Up
Like
the
and subscribe.
Reds. Up the
Up
Reds.
the Reds. Glazers out.